Let's take a look at how you make decreases that slant to the right and to the left. In normal knitting, when you're just working stockinette stitch or some other pattern stitch, you'll notice that your stitches make nice straight vertical columns. But when you make decreases, you can make stitches that slant towards the right or towards the left. We're going to do a stitch that slants towards the right, a decrease called knit two together. And this is known as a right slanting decrease because of the direction that it points. And you can see, if you look carefully, that what we want to do is we want to take this stitch and pull it over this way to make it slant that way. So when we do knit two together, that's exactly what we're doing. We go into the both stitches together and make one stitch. And that second stitch gets pulled to the top and slants to the right. I'm going to continue across my pattern to a spot where I need a decrease that slants to the left. Now, the simplest way is what I'm going to show you first. I need a yarn over before this just because I'm knitting from a chart, and you can learn more about that in the videos about knitting from charts. But in this case, I'm just following a chart that tells me I need a yarn over, and now I need a left slanting decrease. The easiest way to do that is to get this stitch to push over on the top of this one, and I'm just going to go knit two together through the back, and you can see that stitch is pulled over to the left. If you look very carefully here, you can see that on these decreases they look like regular knit stitches where the two legs come together at the bottom. But if you look at the bottom of the one I just did, knit two together through the back, the bottom of the legs are crossed like a little X. And that's because when you knit a stitch that way, you're knitting it through the back, you're twisting it around, and you're causing that to happen. So I'm going to show you a different way to do that stitch that does not create the crossed stitch. And this is what you'll see a lot of times called SSK, or sometimes slip knit in patterns. And here's exactly how you do that. You slip one stitch knitwise, and you see you've turned it around so the other leg is in the front. And then you slip another stitch knitwise. Now we're going to put those stitches together with the left needle going into the front of them and the right needles going into the back. And actually what we're going to do is knit them together through the back loop. That's exactly what we did before, but because we did the slip to turn them around, we don't have that crossed stitch now, and it makes a smoother decrease. That's a mirror image of the knit two together. So knit two together on the right slanting SSK, or knit two together through the back on the left slanting. And you can decide on this left slanting decrease which one you like better depending on the project you're working on, the yarn you're using, the color, and your tolerance for perfection in your knitting. I use knit two together through the back loop a lot, especially if I'm working on very fine yarns or a dark color or furry yarn where it won't show up as much. But in this yarn, because it's thick and smooth and a light color, I want to use SSK so that I get a more perfect stitch definition.